Welcome back to Pardon Me, Brother. Got a little music to get us in the mood to go kill a man. Hey, can you move that itchy out of your face?
Cut off.
You got the itchy in your eyeball. Get that itchy out of there.
There it's gone.
Thank you. This is our coming back to music for this part. So we're already recording. So
I know,
just so
I
you know.
noticed. I know.
Okay. Welcome back to Pardon Me, Brother. Jimbo, take it away, baby. What we got
All
going
right.
on for this
Round
is what?
two.
Number
Okay.
2.
Round 2. Okay, Dad. I got it written down here for me. It says, tell us about the time that you and Mom fell asleep at the drive-in movie, and then something about a flat tire also.
About the black what?
About a flat tire.
That was a different occasion.
Okay.
There were, we went to the drive-in theater, which we did quite frequently. It was back in those days. I don't remember if you were with us, Jim, but I know that Grant and Cindy were there.
We slept.
And this was an overnight I think it had to be 4 or 5 movies.
Okay.
And everybody fell asleep, including Mom and I. And I woke up to somebody knocking on the window.
Go home.
And the whole place was actually just about totally empty.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God.
So, and I was surprised that we had fallen asleep. Normally we didn't do that. But this, I think, was one of the few occasions we went to, they had 4 films. And the other time, as far as the flat tire, we were at Franklin Park Drive-In, and everything was fine. We watched the movie and everything, and we started to leave, and the car's going. Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Oh my gosh.
We just got out the exit, and right in front of the Franklin Park Theater to change the tire.
Oh my gosh.
Total darkness, nobody around. So it was just, one of those things that happened.
Was that the Jesse James Theater, or is this a different one?
The theater that we fell asleep at, I think, was Jesse James. And the flat tire was Franklin Park.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Just fell asleep,
Yeah, well.
neglected your kids, left us in the back seat to fend for ourselves and our
I've
dreams.
been to the drive-in and seen a triple feature, and that's long. 3
Yes, it
three
is.
3 movies is long.
Yes, it is. And I think this was 4.
Yeah, that's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
So
Oh my gosh.
That's all night.
Well,
It don't start till around 9 because it's
No.
it's not even dark at 9, but it's dark enough to start.
I think it was like 4 in the morning when
Wow.
we knocked on the window.
Yeah.
there was in one of the podcasts, Dad, that Jim and I did. We talked about driving by Jesse James when we weren't even going to the movies, and they used to show like skin flicks.
Oh, yeah.
So we would drive by there, and all you see these, 80-foot long boobies as we're going down Reynolds Road. Like, what is that?
Well, that
Look
reminds-
away!
That story reminds me of another story at
No.
Maumee Drive-In Theater, and they put this double screen. They had one in the front and one in the back.
Yes.
Okay.
And Mom and I guess we never give it a thought. We went to see the movie that
I know where this is going already.
Oh, this is not going to be good. This is already going to be bad.
I don't remember those. I want to hear it.
Here we go.
and we're watching the movie, and we realized that you are not watching the same movie that we're watching. And it was probably an R-rated adult type film that
Sure.
was on the back screen
Oh my
that
God,
you were
that's
more
hilarious.
interested in than the one we were watching.
That's hilarious.
It was better. It was rated higher.
Needless to say, we left early.
It had 4 breasts out of 5.
Yep.
It was ranked that way.
Oh,
Well,
God.
let's do a
What else were we talking about the drive-in movie that I wanted to bring up with Dad on one of our podcasts?
I remember the thing with, as we're not even at the movies, but we were driving down Reynolds Road past Jesse James, and I remember talking about the the naked people on the big screen as we're driving by, and Dad's like, "To your right, boys. To your right. To your right."
Yeah, I think you said Dad's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that was a cue for, "Hey, dummy, look over."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-oh. Oh, it must be boobies.
And Mom's going, "Look away, look away." You know, what is it?
No,
So,
I
what was the other
recall we were discussing the movie we saw at Jesse James and drive-ins a lot when we were younger, and you didn't know what it was.
I don't remember
Do you remember,
that
do
at
you
all.
remember that conversation we had on the podcast?
No, I don't think so.
About the movie I said, what was one of the movies we saw? I think we had to have seen it 7-8 times at the drive-in when we were little. It was Eat My Dust. Do you remember going and seeing that at the drive-in? With
It's starting to come back.
I must have been.
Grant goes, I must
I
have been
don't
too
remember
young.
that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that at all.
But I remember seeing that movie more than once at the drive-in.
You said,
it seemed
"Dad,
like
take
it seemed
us
like we're
all
going to
the
the drive-in. Okay, we get there and it's like, oh, Eat My Dust again.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, that was funny. Speaking of Reynolds Road, down Reynolds Road there's a little elementary school that I went to school there in, and it was Glan School. And I think I went there till my 4th grade year, and then that's when, what? And that's when they closed Glan School down, and then I was transferred over to Hawkins. But I got 2 questions for you, Dad, in regards to that. I understand that I was under the impression that your dad, Grandpa Misson, George Misson, went to school there as well. I don't know if that's correct or not. And then the second part of that question would be, how did you end up being the softball coach? I think you were the first ever girls softball coach there at Glan School.
First and only.
First and only?
First and only.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think my father went to Glan School.
Okay.
But as far as the coach, the school decided to form a girls' softball team.
Okay.
There were a couple other schools out there that did have some teams. So Glan decided to partake. And Cindy went down there, they had a meeting, and they did not have a coach. And I guess a few of the mothers that were there at this meeting, none of them knew what about it. So Cindy came home and she was crying. And she said, I don't think we're going to have a team. And I said, well, why not? Why can't you play? I said, didn't they accept you to be on the team or whatever? And she said, we don't have a coach. And that's all it took. Mm-hmm. I said, I'll check into it. And
Right.
next thing you know, I'm the coach of the girls softball team.
How many years did you end up coaching that
6.
team? So 6 years.
6 years. From the time they were about 9 years old to 15.
And then how was it that you're the one and only? Did they not have a team after that? Did it just dissolve that?
Well, I think after that, I think the school closed.
So that's okay. That sounds about right.
Shortly thereafter.
For the time frame, sure.
Close to that time, yeah.
So I think that was how that came about. But they still had girls softball teams in the district. But Glen School, I think, was closing down.
Wow.
But that was a good experience. I enjoyed that.
Jim, you had a crush on a couple of those girls over there on that
What?
softball team,
Now,
didn't you?
Not only him.
Me?
No, I liked
Oh,
girls
yeah.
my
I remember
age.
this little blonde kid running around the pool with a towel wrapped around him thinking he was all,
Yes.
That was Dad.
don't throw me in the pool. Please don't throw me in the pool.
I don't recall any of that.
Okay.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one.
No. Let's go on to another little bit different topic here, and we're going to take it back. I said this is a little bit more serious, and we've been diving into this. And Dad, you've been helping me with this, and I think Jim's been coming in kind of on the tail end and having conversations. But we've been digging into the family tree, the Misson family tree, and locating some graves, finding out some information, and what was one of the things that kind of pops in my head was that in Maumee, Ohio, down there off of Conant Street, is that urgent care facility that we found out later on was Great Grandpa Misson's home that they converted into an urgent care. And then one time you went there for something, I don't remember what it was, and Mom said, hey, why don't you go down to urgent care in Maumee and meet up with Dad because he's down there by himself and I don't want him by himself. So I go down there and we didn't have any clue, I don't think at that time, that we were standing in part of the home
Correct.
that was in the Misson heritage there. Do you have any, any recollection of any of those grandparents at all?
No, just a grandmother. And she was pretty old at the time.
Which grandmother was that?
Grandma Carmen. She was second or third wife of Grandpa's. And she was pretty old. I think she was in her either late 70s or early 80s at that time. And I was pretty young. So, there's a big age difference. And even with my father, he was older when he had children.
Okay, sure.
So, it's hard to have any recollection. They were all passed by the time I would have had any knowledge.
Now, when you said this was Grandpa's wife,
Yes.
which grandpa is this? Arthur that we talked about?
Yes.
So it's my grandpa, your dad, George Misson. It was his father.
Yes.
Okay. And then what was her name again?
Carmen, Grandma Carmen. That was I don't know the story about how her name changed, but I think she was married several times.
Okay.
And I think after my grandpa died, I think she remarried. And I think he passed because that's the only name I ever had was Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you remember we went to that cemetery where your grandpa, great grandpa, is buried?
Yes.
And we found the gravestone which just says Dad. It just says Dad on it. And we took pictures and we looked at everything. And then his wife is buried next to him. Is this the same woman? Because I thought that name was different. I'm trying to remember what her name
No,
was.
it's not the same woman. Grandma
Okay.
Carmen is out in Sylvania at that cemetery.
Okay. All right.
Most of my family or your family, our family, is at that cemetery.
The one
Toledo Memorial? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
I think it's
In Ottawa
Toledo
Hills?
Memorial.
No. It's in Sylvania.
My aunts are there,
Okay.
and I think most of the family that I would know is at that cemetery.
Okay, got it. Got it. Right over there by Chow's in
Yes.
Sylvania, right?
Yes.
On Main Street there. Okay,
Yes.
got
Yes.
it. Okay. Got it. Interesting. I just didn't know if there was anything there from a story standpoint that you remembered, or if you ever remembered hanging out with Grandpa Arthur or any of those things.
Nope, and my dad didn't talk about it very much. I don't think they had a great relationship. Times were different back then.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear the stories and it would be easy to judge. But if not living it, how do you judge that?
Right.
My own father was rented out to a farmer, and you could say, well, that's a terrible thing. But back then, maybe it was not terrible. Maybe it was a common thing.
It was commonplace.
So, I don't judge that. So, times were different.
Well, how can you judge it? Like you said, if you're not in that generation and the times, it's no different than, and I'm not going to make this a big political thing, but if you go way back in time to Columbus days and the early settlers and the slavery and all that that was all commonplace.
Correct.
So everybody was doing it. It was accepted practices.
Yes, exactly.
So that's the same thing with Grandpa, that when he was kind of child labor in a sense, that was commonplace for that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. If we switch gears, Jim, why don't you hit Dad with number 7? We'll switch gears here a
You
little
want
bit.
to go back?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We're gonna jump around a little bit.
What was the most Most challenging part of being a dad
For you.
for you.
Ooh. Dum ba dum bum bum.
There's there's a lot of things that to a father is very challenging, and I think you both are aware of that. That there are things that come up that you have no control over, and you want to do, but there's nothing you can do. But I think, as far as a challenge, and I don't know, it's the father wants to do the best he can for his children, and he wants them to be the best they can be. And I think it all goes hand in hand, that it is a challenge. And when you see your children grown up, as I see you boys, it's rewarding. So, you know, you want to be a good provider, you want to do everything right, you want to show them the right way to be, the things to do, the things not to do.
Sure.
And you don't want them to be like the stories you hear of other people. So I think that, I guess, would be the only way I could answer that.
Okay.
Jim,
Yeah.
same question.
You're gonna ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about while Dad was talking, listening to that, and I don't know. I think maybe being able to admit to your when you get mad at your kids for something, for whatever, or discipline them in some way, and you rethink it later and think that I was probably too harsh or wrong or something. Being able to go back and say, hey, I probably overreacted. I shouldn't have acted that way. So, and apologizing and taking the heat for it, and to let your kids know that it's okay to mess up.
Right.
How do you? But still got to lay down the law. So it's a tough act to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. To add to that, when you discipline your children, you always feel bad.
Well, yes, that's true.
Even if you're right, you feel bad.
That's true.
So,
I kind of enjoyed it myself.
You would.
No, yeah, I'm sick. If I can put a bookend on the side of that and just tell you from my perspective, one of the challenges that I always found is actually that same word, perspective. As we get older, we have past experiences that we can draw from, that we can learn from. And with these kids, when they start doing, something that we just go, okay, you're going down a rough road here, pal. If you do this is going to be really difficult. And of course, they think that, no, it's not. It's me. It's different, and I can do it. And it's difficult for me to let the kids, some lessons the kids have to learn by failing.
Yes.
And to me, that was always the hardest thing, is taking the step back.
Let them fail.
Right? Taking the shield down, putting them out there in harm's way, knowing that they're not going to like the end result.
Right.
But it's that tough love that they needed to have.
That they need to learn sometimes. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more rewarding when they come back to you years later and they tell you that they've learned that lesson. They understand, and Dad, you were right.
yep.
The I told you
were
so.
right. Yeah, you were right.
I wish I'd have listened to you, Dad.
Or them employing some of the same, disciplines that you set for them. And that's rewarding. Say, them coming back to you.
Hey, let's switch gears one more
Switch
time.
Gears. You and these gears. How many gears you got in this car?
Well, you are the truck driver in the family, so you tell me, pal.
Yeah, but I keep it in the
I wanna
last
switch
gear and
gears.
just keep the hammer down.
And I'm going to use it. Whoa, hey now. Hold on. And we're going to use that segue as the right thing to do there, too, because we're going to say gears.
Okay.
Let's talk cars. Let's go and talk some cars with Dad. This is a part that is probably I've been waiting for almost the most, okay?
Dad said he enjoyed our car park podcast.
Did he? Did you like it, Dad? Did you enjoy that? Do you remember that much of it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's ask you this, Dad. Jim and I did a Mount Rushmore, if you will, of our cars. Did you like that with the pictures flying up there and everything?
Yes.
That was kind of neat.
Yes.
We really had a good time with that, you
Yeah.
and I. You know,
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. So why don't we hit up Dad with kind of the same thing? Give us your 3 or 4 cars that you've owned, that you had, that were like your most favorite cars of all time. What do you think would be your 3 or 4 that you would want to put up?
Well, what comes to mind first is probably my first car. It was a 1950 Ford 2-door V8. And the memories with that car, of course, being number one, has to be a favorite.
Yeah.
You know, a couple prom dates, running out of gas, cashing pop bottles to buy gas,
Sure.
all the things that you do.
How cool is that?
That would have to be one of the favorites.
What color was that car, Dad?
That car was white.
Really? Okay.
And I had wrote on the back. Back then, they used to name all their cars, and I had wrote on the back "White Whale"
White Whale.
is what
That's
it was
cool.
called.
All right. Well, that's number 1. What's another one you got?
The next one I had was a Plymouth that we only had for a short time, but it was a stick shift 318, and it was just one of the smoothest cars that there was to drive. It was just really slick. It was
What
very clean.
What year was that?
You
Remember
know,
a
I
year?
cannot remember what year that was, that Plymouth.
Was it
We
new?
didn't have it that long.
Was it new?
No,
Okay.
it was bought used,
2-door, 2-door, 4-door.
2-door.
Okay. What color was it?
Gray. But it was a pretty slick car. And probably my number one favorite's got to be a Corvette. That's my number one.
Well, you've had so many. Which ones
I've
would you put
had
up there?
5. The one that was the best, of course, is the newest, was 1998. It was a gorgeous car. It was a split top.
Was that the platinum?
Pardon?
Was that the platinum one?
Yes. And that car actually changed colors with the light. It could look gold, it could look silver. It was really neat. But being the newest, it had the most room. You could get 2 sets of golf clubs in the back.
Nice.
We took it out of town. It was comfortable. It had leg room. The suspension, of course, was better. You didn't feel like you were hitting the road every time you had a little bump. So that would have to be my number one. But I liked all my Corvettes. I had a 1993 black, which is supposed to be the number one. That was a convertible. That was a beautiful car. But yeah, my favorite is the 98.
See, I would have guessed the 67 red would have been my
that's
guess.
what I would have thought, too.
Is that what you thought we're thinking too? See,
Yeah.
these podcasts are very informative.
You never
So
know.
I remember the platinum one because I was around and I was with Dad with a lot of that stuff, and we took it to some car shows together and did some things like that. But that 67 was the one that you were able to buy your house with. Tell that story real quick on how when you sold your red 67.
Well, I bought that. It was a year old, and that was a beautiful car. It really was. Only had it maybe 8-9 months. Bob and I had just got married,
Okay.
and the car was paid for, and we had an apartment out in Point Place and decided to buy a home. So we sold the car to have the cash to put down to buy a house. And it was comical because we sold the car 5 minutes after I put the for sale sign on it.
Somebody drove down the street and saw
He
it.
drove right by, squealed the tires, hit the brakes, pulled in, banged on the door, and wanted to know how much I wanted. And I told him, and he said, "I want to buy it. Follow me to my house. I'll give you the money."
Oh wow!
Is there a story about that Corvette?
5 minutes.
You wanted to tell us?
Oh wait a minute! Hold on. Yeah.
I'm thinking there is.
There's a story you said to us, Dad, that you wanted to tell us about Mom and that Corvette.
Well,
Your granddaughter's listening in the other room, so I don't know if that means anything.
She's not.
first
She's
we
eating ice
have to
cream.
realize that age is, I was young, did
Okay.
stupid things.
No.
Grandpa Ernie was at Ann Arbor Hospital, and Mom and I were going up to see him. And we got on Interstate 23, where I had drag race before, very familiar with some of that highway. And I decided to open that up. It had 160 miles an hour on the speedometer. And there were very little traffic. And when I got up to about 140 miles an hour, we were passing cars that looked like they were going in reverse, 50 miles an hour in reverse. And I looked at Mom, and I saw her face, and I immediately let off the accelerator because I knew that she was concerned. And Mom was pregnant with you, as a matter of fact.
Oh my gosh!
What the hell?
So,
No wonder you like fast cars.
Yeah, practically born in one.
so anyway,
Yeah.
it was just dumb. Luckily, I didn't get pulled over or get stopped by the police or whatever, but it was just dumb.
Oh, it was different.
Yeah.
It was a different time too.
Yeah,
Not to say it was right or anything, but yeah, it was a different time. I mean,
yeah.
you can't hardly do that anymore without.
But that
You're gonna
wasn't
hit
the-
somebody.
That wasn't the fastest I went in that car. When I was by myself, I
What?
pegged it
What? Pegged it how fast?
over 160.
So you got to the full 160, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's better than our 90.
Did we even get there?
Not sure.
Did
You know, you guys.
I don't know if we ever even got there, quite honestly. But what's that, Dad?
Everybody in their youth, you know, cars are a fascination, especially for guys.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you just hope that your boys don't do the stupid of things that your father did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we, okay, moving on.
I heard your podcast.
Did you? Oh, okay. Well, that was really Jimmy that was surfing on top of
Yes,
that van. That
alright.
wasn't.
The surfing,
I
I
would-
saw.
What?
I'll take blame for the drag race, but I'm not taking
Okay.
blame for the surfing.
Well, all right. Let me ask you this, Dad. Is there a vehicle that you always wanted, you know, a car that you always wanted, but for whatever reason, maybe you almost got it, but it got away and you weren't able to get it, you never got this car? Is there something that you really liked out there that you had a shot to get or anything like that you
No,
can think
I
of?
don't think so.
Is there any, let's switch that up a little bit then. Is there a car today, now, that if you had the opportunity to get, that you'd be interested in talking about or looking at it? Is there anything there?
Well, another one of my favorites was a 1966 Chevy convertible that I bought out of the showroom. And that was my very first brand new car.
Okay.
And I sold that to your Uncle Tom, and they totaled it. Oh. So that was a beautiful car. Oh. That was just a beautiful car.
Is that the car that has the story about you going in and trying to buy a car and the salesman turned you away?
That's the car. I went into...
Tell that quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I went into a Chevy dealer, and I guess I didn't look like I could afford the car. Mm-hmm. And the sales guy was not very nice. I don't remember what was said. And I told him, I said, I wouldn't buy from you if it was a gift. I wouldn't take it. And I left there and went down to Jim White's on Monroe Street and bought that 66 Chevy, paid cash for it.
Wow.
I thought I remember the story about something you talked to the manager on your way out and he asked you if something was wrong. And you said, yeah, your stupid ass salesman
Yeah.
just cost you a sale, and you threw the cash in your hand and walked out.
I told him I was buying. I told him I was buying cash.
Yeah.
He tried to talk me into staying, and I said no,
Nope.
won't do it.
Yeah.
But you know,
Cars were different. That was different too back then.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow. I do remember that story.
You don't know anything about used car salesmen, wouldn't you, Rand?
No, they suck. They suck.
I know that's your pet peeve.
Don't be a crybaby. Let's turn another corner, and let's go to Reynolds Corners, and let's go back to the old house on Fleet Road.
Okay.
And there's a lot of stuff we've got on here in regards to that when we were younger and that. So we'll hit that up. But first, let's do this. Our childhood house that we grew up on Fleet Road, you built 50% of that home, which means you put in, a new foundation, you put in new rafters, you put in new roof, you put in 2 new bedrooms, a bathroom. Full-size rec room, back door area. I mean, all the everything that goes with that. So, some of that stuff I'm sure came kind of easy to you. But what was the most challenging aspect to you for that build when you built Fleet Road?
it would have to be the chimney. I'd never experienced anything like that, so I had to go to the library and get books on how to build the chimney for the furnace.
Okay.
So that was very interesting, how to do that.
Books?
What? No Google?
What is a book?
You had to go and get a book and read with your eyes.
Yeah.
So the chimney. What else was? What else did you find interesting or challenging? Anything else with that? Because tell me about the build. What exactly did you put on the house? How many feet do you know?
Well, it was approximately 20 by 52.
Okay.
It was 52 feet across the back. And I did everything except put in the new furnace.
Okay.
Fry Brothers came out and put the furnace in. And it was challenging to a degree because some of that I had not done.
Okay.
But a lot of carpentry is basic, and whatever you don't know, you just fake it, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Or you
must have
read,
been
or
my
you read,
bedroom.
or you read on how to do it.
Right. Hey, there's also a story that you and Mom used to tell us about. You had a helper that would come over and help you. Tell us about that. Who was your helper, and give us an example of something
Yes,
there.
my father, your grandpa, he was in his middle to late 60s,
Okay.
and he would come over and get up on the ladder, and he helped put rafters up and scared Mom half to death because he's up there dangling his feet. And you think at that age, you'd think it would be not safe.
Well,
That was Grandpa?
Yeah,
that was Grandpa. Huh?
yeah.
No
But
kidding.
he was a handyman of sorts always, so
Was it this guy?
that's the guy.
There he is.
Yep.
Grandpa George. Remember him very well. Hey, Jim, would this be a fitting story for you to tell really quickly the story about the grinder in Grandpa's garage when he tried to talk to us? We got to do that with Dad here. You got to take that one on.
Well, I'm sure Dad remembers too. But
I know,
yeah,
but-
when we were little,
Yeah, set that up.
and Grandpa was still at his house, and you would take us over there, on the weekend, to visit or whatever, and sometimes maybe you would drop us off and go run an errand or something. But Grandpa was always in the garage. And he'd walk out in the garage. We'd walk in there, see him. And he'd turn on that grinder, and he'd grab a lawnmower blade.
Yep.
And he'd just sit there grinding that thing. And he's talking to us. And it's like, what?
Yep.
What? Couldn't hear anything. And he'd just grind those blades over and over every single time. It was just hilarious.
Yep.
But it's just a fond memory. I mean,
Yeah. I remember that one lawnmower blade he had. One side of it wasn't touched. The other side was like ground halfway down because he just kept grinding that same side when he would show us. Hey, let me show you this grinder I got out here. I could sharpen stuff. And then he'd turn it on. And then it was just like I was doing a minute ago where he's going. And all you can hear is this. And he's just going. Then he'd laugh and go.
Yeah.
Because he said something funny, but we never, still to this day, know
Don't
what
know
he
what
said.
it was.
No idea what he said, but that was good. What else you got for Dad over there? If we're on Fleet Road, what else you got for Fleet Road?
For Fleet Road?
Sure. Should we ask him the thing that we've been dying to ask him?
Yeah,
Like,
go
what
ahead.
was he thinking?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to do it?
You ask.
All right, I'll set this up. It was just the three of us at home, okay? Jimmy and you and I. And we were pretty young. I mean, I would say, maybe I wasn't quite a teenager yet. Jim,
We
maybe.
were probably 12 and 10.
Okay, so right in the ass. So I'm accurate, okay.
11, 9, 12, 10, somewhere.
And we were going to play in our bedroom, which was the bedroom at this time was in the back of the house by your bedroom, right? And you were doing something, I think, either by the pool or in the
in
garage.
the garage.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Because we could hear the saw.
Oh, God, yeah, that's right. So we already knew where you were at. So if we're going to do something we're not supposed to be doing, we'd wait until the saw was going. So we knew that you were not going to be around.
Yeah.
It's his idea. Anyways.
No.
So, anyways, Dad's sitting there. I remember you said this to us, and Jim will correct me, but he's like, "Okay, I want you guys to stay in your room, play in here, don't get in any trouble or anything, and whatever you do, don't jump on that couch. I want to be in the garage, and we're gonna go out there."
Chair. It was
A chair or whatever it was,
Love
couch
seat or
chair, love
chair,
seat,
something.
something. And I just remember Jimmy looking at me like, "Why did
Why?
he say that?" And I went, "I don't know. You want to jump on it?" And like, "Yeah." And out in the garage there, we get, we're like, "Hey!" Woo, and we're jumping on it. And I want to say, for the record, we would have never done it. Never done it if he had not said, "Don't do that."
I don't
We had
believe so.
No intentions.
It's never
that
on
wasn't
my radar.
wasn't even fun. So we'd like to know, what the hell were you thinking? And why did you tell us not to jump on this little couch? Do you remember this?
No,
we
I do
got
not.
we got in trouble. We got in so much trouble.
Oh, big trouble. Big trouble.
And you tell what happened when we got in trouble, because if I'm remembering this right, do you remember what happened?
Oh, I remember what
Okay,
happened.
you
My butt
take it
still
away.
hurts.
Take it away. Take it away. What happened?
I recall we were jumping and laughing and hysterically, and never dawned on us that the saw stopped. And at one point, we just both stopped and looked at each other and looked at the door, and Dad was just standing
Standing
there watching us. And I believe we both got
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
whoopings.
I
And I got an extra because I was older and should have known better.
Yeah. See. Do you remember this?
No, I do
Are
not.
you kidding me? There's no way you can't remember
I
this.
can't
do
believe
not.
that.
I don't
We've
remember.
talked
I
about
can't believe
that
that forever.
No,
I understand why you said, whatever you do, don't jump in the chair.
We would just laugh and go, "Oh, we shouldn't have done it," and all that, blah, blah, blah. And then at one point in the last decade, Jim, one of us looked at each other and went, "Why the hell did he tell us not to jump on that?"
I guess I just don't remember.
Oh,
I don't remember catching you. I don't remember.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
Does that mean we did stuff like that a lot?
I don't remember.
That he can't
Mom's over there
differentiate?
right now, too.
She's smiling.
Were we couch jumpers? Did we jump on furniture all the time and bounce all around? Was that something that you had to correct us for?
I did,
Well,
but I was sleeping.
that's another question. We'll come back to that in a minute. Yeah. Were we jumpers, Mom? Did we jump on the couch and stuff like that all the time? Do you remember that?
All the time, if you did.
Did you ever have to correct us and say, "Hey, don't be jumping on the couch"?
Always correct.
Oh, you don't know what's going on. Stop it. Just stop it right now. That's all right. Well, maybe we did do that.
Maybe that's why Dad was so mad, because Mom wasn't
Oh,
there.
God,
to
he
correct
was
us.
so mad.
I got to take care of this shit. I got work to do in the garage.
And I told him
I
not to
got-
bounce on the couch. It's the
I got,
only
a
thing they
pile,
did.
I got a pile of sawdust out there that's not quite high enough. I got to go back out there and make some more.
Yeah, what's that all about? Why was the sawdust pile like 4 foot tall? Grant, you want to help me in the garage? I'm not doing that pile. I'll help you. I'll move some wood, but I ain't doing that. It's bigger than me.
As a kid, Dad, you can understand that all the kids see is they know you're running the saw all the time, and the pile just keeps getting higher, but they don't notice you doing any work around the house. So it just looks like you're out there, like you're
Just
instead
cutting wood.
of Grandpa's, grinding blades, you're just cutting wood.
Yeah. It's going on like this. Dad's out in the garage. He goes, "Oh, looks Linda's looking for me." I'll be in a minute, honey. I got more wood to cut.
How much wood did you waste trying to avoid Mom, Dad?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not saying nothing. Oh my God, that's
Okay.
funny. That's funny.
That's what it seemed like for sure.
Well, let's get away from Fleet Road for a second, and let's go over to another person's house.
Yours.
Oh no.
Not mine.
Now, this is a very fruitful conversation that we're about to have.
Fruitful.
Yeah. So, there was why you give it away?
Is it something I want to know?
You were there.
You were there, and
You have to remember this one.
yeah, this was at.
Can I set the scene?
Oh yeah. You go ahead, Jim.
It's
Okay.
already coming to mind.
Yes, we were at somebody else's house. And you and Mom and the other couple left for the day and left the older kids in charge. And when you came home, this other person's pool was full of apples, courtesy of Grant and Jimmy.
So, did you ever laugh about that later after you got?
course.
Did you go, "Oh my God, I can't believe the boys did that"?
Well, it wasn't our pool. That was the best part.
Do you remember what the punishment was?
No, I do not. Didn't you guys clean it up?
You had to clean it up, but we were not allowed to jump in the pool.
Yeah.
We had to get all the apples out, but we were not allowed in the pool
Does Dad know
because that would be fun, you know.
Does Dad know the real story about how that actually came to be?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So we should probably, just for the purposes of the podcast, we should probably tell the story on what
Okay.
happened. And you want me to?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So we're outside playing around. You guys are gone doing whatever you're doing with Arlie and his wife and Mom, and you guys are doing dinner or something. And the girls were inside. You know, Kathy and what was her sister's name? Is it Sue? No, it's Kathy Clausen and
Chris.
Chris. That's right, Chris
Chris and
Clausen.
Kathy.
Okay, so they were inside. It was nice enough outside. They're like, go ahead and run around the yard. And you had the big yard with all the trees, apple trees, obviously. Above ground pool. And they said, just try not to play up on by the pool. We don't want you around the pool. Once again, don't tell us that. We would have never probably. So, anyways, we go out there, figure out how to drop the ladder. So we go up there and we're just walking around the pool. Now, of course, we're all decent swimmers. Weren't going to do anything dumb. We were just going around there, and we were just walking, and there was a branch that was just hanging. And as we're just talking and walking,
We were
is
on
that
the
what it was?
ground. We were on the ground.
Oh, that's
we
how
weren't
we
even
went
up there.
That's why we went up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
We were behaving. We weren't.
we were just talking and walking. That's right. I forgot about that. Walking around the pool, and as we're just walking, Dad, we hear this bloop. We went, what was that? And Jim goes, I think that. And then we look up, and there's all these apples. And Jim goes, and an apple fell in the pool. And I went, no. So we get up on the pool. Am I saying this right now?
No, we jumped on grabbed the tree branch. We were jumping up and grabbing the tree.
That's after we got up to the pool, though.
we
couldn't reach it
we
from the
may have
ground.
gone up and looked. Yes.
So I thought we went up and looked, and there was one in the pool. And if I recall correctly, as we're sitting there looking down, going, look, there's the apple that went down there. We heard this bloop, and we look up, and we saw an apple rolling down the bottom of the pool because another one fell in. And there's a branch right there now. Oh. And Jim goes, yeah. And then it was on, and we're just walking around and grabbing every branch, and all you could hear is, you know. And then eventually we stopped and went, okay, that was fun. Let's get out of here, and we're going to leave. And so we put the ladder back up and everything, and we leave. And then wasn't it the next day that Arlie called you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went over there, and we're like, okay, well, all right, Dad, you want us to get, okay, we'll get him out. We're like
No.
this. And he goes, you're not going in the pool. Use the net. And we're like, oh. It was a cool game. We could have done a cool game and got in there and got all the, you know. But, yeah, I do. So what was your take on that when that all went down? What happened in your mind?
Boys will
Be boys. Yeah.
It wasn't really anything destructive.
No.
No.
And it was obvious it was all in fun. Hey, and you got to remember, we had a kid that lived next door to us that threw apples at our pool, too.
Oh, for sure.
So, you know,
Well, it wasn't like we went outside and said, "Hey, let's fill Arlie's pool
Yeah.
with apples."
right.
It literally just happened organically, and we're just like, "Hey,"
Again,
you know.
was
And kids do things that for
nothing destructive,
not thinking.
you know. And,
No, it wasn't destructive.
and you guys cleaned it out, and it was okay. It wasn't.
How
not a
upset
big
was
deal.
Arlie?
I don't think that much.
Okay.
But he was, he had two girls.
Yeah.
So he didn't understand 2 boys are a lot different than 2 girls.
A little bit.
Do you remember Mom talking to Mom about it, or telling her what we did
Oh, yeah.
at Arlie's?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That'd be hilarious. You're not gonna believe what your boys did.
Well, I think we've got enough material, guys, that we're going to
Yeah.
do one more session.
Yeah, let's take.
Okay,
a break.
we'll do that. So we'll take a break now. We've been going here about 45
Rand has
minutes.
to pee again.
And I pee a lot. So we're going to take a break here and we'll come back.
No, Bob.